Just quickly before we get started, a special thanks to my man Smithy. He was the first subscriber to Daz Talks Footy. Not only did he help source these clips, but has helped me digest them and dissect them in a way that will stop me from over-explaining them and taking up unnecessary time in the video. So appreciate you, Smid, and I hope you do as well. So you can drop him some love in the comments for when we get to the film breakdown in this video. It's probably the understatement of the year so far, but Melbourne had a disappointing 2024 for on-field and off-field reasons, and if they are to get back to their best in 2025, a lot is going to need to go right. First and foremost, the returning form of Christian Petrarca and Clayton Oliver, and whilst I am reasonably confident that Track is going to be able to get back to his best, the fall-off for the two players were extremely different. Clarry actually didn't miss a lot of time throughout 24, whereas Petrarca got injured in the Queen's birthday game, and then we didn't see him for the rest of the year. This video, I want to talk about Clarry, not only the massive fall-off that he had last year, but the encouraging signs towards 25 and what he can do to help not only propel Melbourne's midfield forward, but himself, because he is only 27. Now, the first bit of good news, well, first and second piece of good news we could say is that Clarry was best on ground in Melbourne's match sim at the day of recording. Clearly got the ball on a string, and what that's going to do is help him elevate himself back to his best. Now, I feel there are some footy fans that are kind of forgetting a little bit of just how good he was and where he differentiated from an accumulator like Tom Mitchell, for example, even though Mitchell won a Brownlow at Hawthorn, is that Clarry was able to do more than just the accumulation first effort and do it really efficiently. Yes, Clarry was not the best kick of the footy, but what he was able to do was put in repeated efforts both with and without the ball that led to Melbourne having a dominant midfield. The 2021 Grand Final, I've highlighted more than a million times on this channel just how easy it was for Melbourne to break out of the front of the stoppage, and whilst yes, Petrarca did win the Norm Smith medal in that game, Clarry deserves a lot of credit for that as well. So the first question we kind of need to ask is just how bad was the form in 2024 from a numbers perspective? Because the eye test, it was very easy to see that something was wrong, and how much those off-field issues affected him, I won't know, and it's not up to me to speculate about. But what I do know that from 2017 to 2023, Clarry averaged an astounding 30.5 disposals, just under 8 clearances, just over 6 tackles, 118 Supercoach points, and 106 fantasy points. And in 2024, that dropped to 23 disposals, 4.5 clearances, 4 tackles, 84 Supercoach points, and 77 fantasy. Yes, Supercoach and fantasy aren't the be-all, end-all, but there are some footy fans there that consume the sport that way, so I thought that I would include it here. The drop-off was significant, and considering it's not as if he'd hit 31, 32 years old, and all of a sudden that form was about to dip, this was genuinely a season-long shitstorm that culminated in him having the worst year of his career objectively. And competition-wise, the drop-off was easy to see. Take where he rated amongst other players in the competition. In 2018, Clarry was a top 5 player. In 2019, that dropped to 26th. 20, he was the 9th rated player. 21, he was the 2nd rated player. In 22, he was the number 1 rated player in the competition, even though he didn't win the Brownlow medal that year, but according to AFL player ratings, he was number 1. And in 23, he was 7th. The fact that 5 of those 6 years were single-digit numbers just showed the amount of ball-winning dominance that he was able to generate. And I just want you to think for a moment of where he might have ranked last year. I'm not asking for a specific number, but kind of a ballpark figure. Top 20, top 25, top 40, top 50, that kind of thing. And before we get to that number, it's really important to know that how much that was missed at Melbourne as well, with a side that had 2 very good key defenders and a defense that was okay-ish. Last year, a dominant midfield meant that they were going to help out their forward line. Bailey Fritsch and Cozzy Pickett are really good players, but are undersized. Fritsch is the perfect medium forward, I know that, but if they're able to get his output out of a tall forward, that would be superb. Yes, guys like Daniel Turner did show signs last year, but Jacob Van Rooyen just needs help. and hopefully he can get it from Matty Jefferson and Aiden Johnson this year, and Disco Turner can still play, and we'll see what happens with Harrison Petty. But not too many players can go from a key defender to a key forward and be really good at it. Usually we see it the other way, and whilst just a guy like James Sicily and even Jeremy McGovern had some really clutch moments when he was sent forward, it's not something that you are going to be able to expect. If the difference between Melbourne making finals and not making finals is Daniel Turner kicking 40 plus goals, I will probably keep them out of my 8. But back to the original Clarry question, where did AFL player ratings have him ranked last year? Well, if you said top 20, you were incorrect. If you said top 40, you were incorrect. If you said top 50, you're still wrong. Top 75, top 100, bump bow. Clayton Oliver, the ball-winning magnet, was the 114th rated player last year. And even if you think that is blasphemous and incorrect, there aren't too many arguments to be made that Clarry was a dominant player. And not only that, his lack of performance on field affected Melbourne in a big way. The D's were 10th in contested ball, 7th in contested percentage, 12th in ground balls, and 10th in hard ball gets. Add in that around the stoppage, they were 16th in centre clearances, 16th in stoppage clearances, 12th in scoring from stoppage, and 16th in scoring from centre bounce. Clearly, they are going to need some help in the midfield. And all of that is going to come from within. And it's not necessarily all on Clayton's shoulders either, considering that they've got guys like Judd McVie and Trent Rivers that are going to be able to float through that midfield as well. Will we see Petrarca play more forward? Maybe, but Clarry is not a non-centre bounce player. Petrarca, you could convince someone, I'm pretty sure, that might be sent out of the stoppage once or twice, remembering that game where he kicked 5 against Carlton and nearly single-handedly won them the game. But it's fair to say that Oliver and Jack Viney are not going to be on the field and not in the centre bounce too many times next year. So what can we expect to see from Clarry that we just weren't seeing last year? Now, in this first clip, the way he was able to read the eyes of the ruck was outstanding. His sharp hands while being tackled, but the big thing here is, and what we saw in 21 a lot as well, the effort to bounce back up, accelerate, receive the handball, and deliver the ball inside 50. Granted, that delivery inside 50 was not perfect, but a Melbourne forward line that is going to be able to exploit their opposition in a 6-6-6 way, and if the ball does go to ground, you've still got, as we've said quite a few times, Fritsch and Pickett, as well as some other smalls down there. Yes, they don't have Alex Neil-Bullen anymore, and that high half-forward position is going to have to be taken by someone, whether that's someone like Harvey Langford coming in off the square as an early midfielder, who knows, or is it a Xavier Lindsay who may start as a high half-forward in order to get himself indoctrinated into the game, a bit like Gold Coast did with Jake Rogers, is going to remain to be seen. But once the ball is in that forward 40 area, you could say, the Ds are going to need either some silver service or some quick service in order to lock the ball in. But another one here on the boundary throw-in, not only is he proactive at the stoppage, he throws out the quick hands to deflect the handball, he's got the spin move available, but the key 3 portions for this clip is his acceleration, the composure that he shows, and the follow-up run. Clarry is clearly at his best when he is able to play a hybrid role. He is the first distributor at the stoppage, and he can also be either the first or the second link man post-stoppage, and Christian Petrarca does this really well. Now, he's more dangerous on the outside than Clarry is, but as a tandem partnership, it's why they work so well. And then in this third clip, the instincts to hit the contest and time the drop of the ball is genuinely outstanding. But the important thing here, again, is not only the cleanliness of the take and the handball to go from inside out, setting up another teammate. With the hand injury last year and the lack of fitness, that kind of thing wasn't happening. And I'm not coming from this as a fitness guru, clearly, but if Melbourne are going to be as good as either some people or some fans think they are, you're going to need your best players at their best. So can Clarry get there? I'm going to say as close to yes as possible, and I'm going to say that he is going to put up a 28 disposal, 5.5 clearance season, and I think he is a genuine value at top 10 in the Brownlow, although I think he might be closer to the 8, 9, 10 range than I do the 1, 2, 3 range. So what do you guys think? Comment below, let me know. Like the video if you like the video, subscribe to join the Daz Talks Footy family. Another shout out to Smithy, you're an absolute star for helping me not find just the clips, but find the ways of writing out a really easy and simple way to explain them. And I already think this came out better than the Jason Horne-Francis video, which you can still watch, and you can watch a couple of my other preseason videos as well, including when will your club have their first win, and some historical grand final matchups I wish we could have seen but didn't. So I hope you enjoy all that. I hope you're enjoying your week. Have a fantastic weekend, guys. I will see you in the next video. Look after yourselves. Look after each other, you absolute superstars.